What up, everybody? Good morning. This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. I'm back live streaming. Um, Welcome. Right now is Saturday morning, July 20th, 2019. I'm sorry, not 20th, 13th. July 13th. Next weekend is July 20th. I'm already thinking about San Diego Comic Con. Today is July 13th, which is also the birthday of Harrison Ford. So happy birthday, Harrison Ford, legendary on-screen actor. Um, but next weekend I'll be at San Diego Comic Con, and of course next weekend, specifically Saturday, July 20th, is the biggest one. They got this huge Star Trek panel from CBS All Access um, at noon, and then of course the big Marvel panel around 5 p.m. ish. And they're gonna announce the Eternals. I don't know, maybe Black Panther 2, maybe Doctor Strange 2, who knows? But definitely Shang-Chi. Definitely they'll announce Black Widow standalone. Um, I'm hoping they would announce Squirrel Girl movie, but that's just my wishful thinking. Would it not be nice if She-Hulk and Squirrel Girl become part of the what's it Phase 4? But enough with Marvel. Right now, I'm here to talk to you about DC, specifically DC Universe, DC's digital streaming service, and the latest episode of Young Justice Outsiders. I love this animated series. Oh my god! Even as I am feeling sleepy right now, I'm still excited to talk about this. Um, this is season 3. Obviously, Young Justice Outsiders is a.k.a. season 3, episode 17, titled First Impression. Now, this is what's weird about Young Justice series, whether it's Young Justice Invasion, which was the previous season, or this one, Outsiders. Oftentimes, they would unleash 2 episodes or 3 new episodes at a time in a day, and oftentimes they would unleash just 1 episode. And this past week, I looked it up. I was like, okay, maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I overlooked the other episode. There's got to be more episodes now. But no, nope. They only released 1 episode this past week. And that is this one, First Impression. Um, and what happened? Oh, let's just use present tense. What happens in this episode is basically the coming out party. The episode where these youngsters embrace, or I would say claim the name for themselves, hashtag outsiders. So that's cool, right? Because, hence the title of the show. After so many episodes of, many of them training, owning their skills, looking up to Justice League, of course, right? At the same time. And meanwhile, folks like Gar or Beast Boy juggling the life of the celebrity. After so many episodes of that, of them um, dealing with their own shit, sometimes separately and sometimes with the team, now they become like a group, a clique, calling themselves outsiders. So it's Gar's idea, basically. As you know, Gar has a vendetta now against Granny Goodness, whom, by the way, he's still taking advantage of because he's under contract. So Granny Goodness still has to pay him for his, you know, stint on that Space Trek show. But Gar uses that paycheck money to, according to this episode, he created this facility for his Outsiders team. So it's kind of like their own Justice Hall or their own watchtower, but it's cozier. It's like a dorm room. Now, Aquaman has some reservation about this idea at first, but Gar does a hell of a job of selling the idea of making Tigress Superboy and Aquaman convince, and Martian Girl as well, Magan, whatever doubt that they had previously or prior to that, quickly fades away because Gar sells it. And that the way he sells it is that, hey, look, the public sentiment is against us right now, because there are a bunch of demagogueries and right wing agendas, telling the public that, oh, vigilantes and superheroes are bad. And so we are suffering in the polls, in the public perception polls. So we have to recapture that. And we can't do that behind the scenes or behind the shadows. We got to come out. We got to, rebrand ourselves. We got to be the public face of this superhero. And for those of us who don't feel comfortable about that, that's fine. You can stay covert op, you know, secret mission. But for the rest of us who are comfortable with that, we're gonna be the face of this thing, and we're gonna make a positive face of it. And to that, I say, yeah, it's a great idea. The a way to battle bad perceptions is to give good perception. Silence is not a good way to battling it to battle it. You gotta counter it with say, hey, no, 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 you got us wrong. This is who we are. This is what we do, and what we do is good. And so what happened this episode was it started out with the Reach ships attacking Brooklyn. Turned out they're not really Reach ships. They're manned by this group who takes advantage of alien weapons. Um, and so it's Gar, Wonder Girl, Blue Beetle, Kid Flash, and there's a couple of other members that I can't remember on the top of my head right now. But they swoop in and they save the day, right, from the Reach ships. They save the town. And what's funny during this encounter is that there are three townsfolk, three ladies, using live streams on their phone to capture the moment. The Young Justice Outsider saving the day moment. And one of them geeks out when she finds out that, oh my God, it's Gar, it's the Beast Boy, it's the celebrity. And she's like, oh, geek. She's all like fangirling. And, there's this point where all three of them, with their cell phone cameras get together and they're like, oh my God, look at us. We're like real reporters. Because media these days have been transformed into something like that. The old media, the mainstream news with the news, traveling trucks or traveling vans with the news, those are old days. These days anybody could break the news, anybody with a cell phone camera, and could claim themselves as reporters. Reporters, sorta, if you will. um and I'm sure they received that live stream that they had, must have received like freaking thousands of likes and hearts and thumbs and whatnot, and views, maybe thousands of views. I'm sure they went viral that day. So that's interesting in my opinion. um they save the day. Just Young Justice Outsider saved the day, but then the mayor insists on the sheriff to arrest them. The mayor is this bigot. The mayor represents a lot of mayors and governors out there in real life, I kid you not, who uh, are hypocrites. They're like, oh my God, we don't need outside help. We got the freaking military, and we got the, you know, our penis, size is bigger than yours. That kind of mayor. It's like we don't need your help. And it's like this, you guys are against the law. So he's he's one of those mayors who is on power trip. You know, they're drunk on power. They're like, you know what? I own this town. You got to play things my way. I'm the ruler and the king. So if you don't play things my way, I'm gonna slap some handcuffs on you. Um, And then of course the big mothership of quote unquote Reach, but it's not actually Reach, um, arrives, and the military drones also arrive, but then they got killed, uh, shot down by the big ass Reach ship. That was kind of funny. He's like, "Oh my god, yes, the military's here." And then the young justice outsiders have to release themselves from their handcuffs and save the day once again. You know, it's from the perspective of, for those of us who are fans of superheroes, we have uh, you know different ideas of what superheroes should be like. The idea of, like this one, them being out in public, you know, basically become poster people for superheroes. Um, for some of us, that could be considered, a bit too much. Like, hey, you should not. Superheroes are not supposed to, you know, bask in one's own glory. Um, they're supposed to like have alter egos. Kind of like you're supposed to have like Clark Kent to your Superman sort of thing. Um, and that's fine. That's not a wrong idea. Um, but what these kids are doing is, as I implied earlier, trying to battle, trying to fight off, trying to counter um, the misconceptions that are being put out there about them. Um, you know, it also brings me back to the series, the new series, The Boys. I can't speak much about it because I'm still under embargo. But the whole thing, saving the day from the Reed ships. Imagine if it was part of the whole plan. If Young Justice Outsiders was bad, if they were not good, you know, what they would have done is something similar. They would have planted, these far bad guys like Reed ships, and then they would swoop in and save the day, and then they would smile for the cameras, sign autographs. That's a bad that those are bad. That's a bad approach for any superhero. You know, there should be some kind of a limit, I think, because if it gets to their heads, if they think that this is supposed to be what superhero is, you know, limelight, being thanked, being worshipped and praised all the time, then that would be going a bit too much. So hopefully they don't go there. I mean, at this point, I don't think they are though. I mean, like even Wonder Girl, when that one woman calls her like simply by saying that, "Oh, you're Wonder Woman's sidekick," you know, if the ego has gotten to Wonder Girl's head, she would have like been angry. She would have been like, "No, I'm nobody's sidekick," and it would like she would push back on the comment. But no, she's like, "Hey, I'm more of a protege than a sidekick, but thanks anyway." So right now they're still playful and they're genuinely good. But we never know because the way to hell is paved with, as you know, good intentions. The road to hell. So, but right now, though, for this one, at this point in time, they mean well with their coming out party as hashtag we are all outsiders. So it's interesting. It also it also brings to uh, another perception of like, you can kind of see where the mayor is coming from, because whenever Justice League or Young Justice comes or swoops in to save the day, oftentimes it results in damages to the town or to whatever, the city, or wherever the setting is. Buildings get wrecked. In this one, public library's window gets wrecked. So you can kind of see where the mayor's coming from in terms of that frustration. It's like, who's gonna pay for this? All these damages, right? So um, like, oh, why did the taxpayers, why did the taxpayers have to, front load what Justice League does, or Young Justice um, outsiders do, in the name of saving the day. So hopefully, if they want to be responsible about it, they, as in Young Justice Outsiders and Justice League, they should also consider or take into consideration that as well. The damages that sometimes superheroes leave behind, you know, uh, on the town or on the city, for the sake of saving the people. Um, I don't know, maybe go for, raise fund for to fix the library, or maybe out of their own pocket, kind of like, hey mayor, here's some money, sorry for the damages, something to that effect, because winning the hearts and minds of public, it should go beyond just winning the hearts and minds of public online. Somebody like the mayor, his heart and mind could also be won over, what I'm saying. So that the other mayors and governors can also follow through, and they're like, oh, I guess we don't really have a problem with superheroes coming to our towns, if they do this and that, if they actually help with fixing our place afterwards. So maybe that's something that should be taken into consideration as well. So that's it. The other story arc in this one involves um, Tigress and Violet, and Tara. Very minor part. Tara still communicating with Deathstroke, so we don't know yet when Tara would betray uh, the team. I don't know when that episode is gonna happen. So that's, that storyline is very paper thin. So I'm not gonna delve too much into that right now. So, but yeah, first impression, it's a very fitting title for the story of this episode, and it we gotta welcome them. Welcome hashtag outsiders. If you've seen this episode too, do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Let me know your thoughts about it down below in the comment section. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/Rama Screen. Subscribe, 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 press that like button, ring that bell. And as always, let's rock this.